Good morning, guys. How are you? I hope you're doing well. And good
Salam
morning,
alaikum.
everybody. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. We're gonna continue, guys, and check our homework first. We did this all questions yesterday. If you have any misunderstanding or while revising these questions, if you have any question to ask me now, guys, about these questions, you can ask. Had any question, any problem in all these questions we did yesterday? Yes? Yes? Any questions?
No, Mr. Thank you.
And also thank you guys for your homework. Some of you sent the homework for me. Thanks a lot. You got your full mark in this homework. Thanks a
Did
lot.
you see mine? Because,
Yes. Yes, I'm gonna check it all now. We will solve all these questions again.
Can you repeat this question?
This one?
Yes, this
Yes. This one, 1 minus cosine 4x over 1 plus cosine 4x. Based on the fact that sine squared x is 1/2 minus 1/2 cosine 2x. So if we multiply both sides by 2, if we multiply here the whole equation by 2, gives 2 sine squared x equals 1. Multiplying half by 2 is 1. Multiplying this half by 2 is also 1 cosine 2x. So we can simply replace 1 minus cosine 2x by 2 sine squared x. But in the question, we have 1 minus cosine 4x. So if it's here 4x, we take the half of the angle, which is 2x. As you know, the relationship in this identity is one of them is double the other. Okay? So the left-hand side is 2x, the right-hand side is 4x. Also, you can do this with the denominator. In the numerator, it's 2 sine squared 2x. In the denominator, it's 1 plus cosine 4x can be replaced by 2 cosine squared 2x from the other identity. من هنا. Cross out the 2, and sine squared over cosine squared is tan squared 2x. Tan squared any angle can be replaced as بايدنتي ثانيه برضه اسمها sin squared 6 squared x is 2x minus 1, because 1 plus tan squared is 6 squared. 1 plus tan squared is 6 squared. So tan squared 2x can be replaced by 6 squared 2x minus 1. ليه? Because I have the integral of 6 squared. What's the integral of 6 squared?
Tan squared.
10 بس.
Tan
The integral of 6 squared 10 2x. And what's the integral of 1 is x plus c. اوكي
مستر عادي ترجع على البارت اللي هو
هذا
tan square plus 1
tan squared plus 1. Listen, اصلا you have an identity states that is called Pythagorean identity like sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. في كمان واحده اسمها بتقول tan squared
أيوة.
x ايوه plus 1 equals
plus 1 6 squared
equal 6 squared. That's why I replaced the tan squared by subtracting 1 from each side.
both sides وخلينا خلص فهمت.
So I replaced the tan squared x by 6 squared x minus
1.
ليه عملنا كده يا شباب؟
thank you.
Because it's easy to find the integral of 6 squared
6 squared easier
is
than
10x and the integral of minus 1 is
minus x.
Also, we did this question by expanding based on the fact a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Do you have any question here, guys? And then separately, we found the integral of each term. Integral of 6 squared is 10, the integral of sec 10 is sec, and the integral of tan squared, نفس المشكلة, we have to replace it by 6 squared x minus 1, وبعدين نشتغل على integration.
مستر إذا مرة تانية طلع لنا tan square x, the integral
Yes.
of tan square x على طول فينا نحطه tan x minus x.
tan x minus x, yes, على طول.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Next question, the same. Huh? Question by question. And if you have any misunderstanding, guys, ask me. Yes, any question here?
يا مستر cosine squared صح never mind خلاص.
Yeah, cosine squared,
cosine squared
and
equals
sine
1.
squared. This yellow, this highlighted yellow, what? Terms is 1. Highlighted yellow terms is what? Is 1. Okay. طيب, the homework. Let's see the homework. We stopped until here, guys, and I said for you to complete this question as a homework. Okay. So who sent for me the homework?
Previous question, 1 second.
The previous question.
I did, Mr.
Yes. So please raise hand. The ones who sent for me the homework, raise hand, please.
Can you explain
Like to
it
check you.
again?
The previous question, would like me to re-explain it again? Okay.
Mr. The
This
question
one?
that you said for us to compete, can you explain it? أنا ما عرفتش أحلها.
No problem. هحلها أصلا دلوقتي بس if
Thank you,
you
Mr.
try to do your homework, just raise your hand. Yes.
Thank you.
أنت بعت لي أصلا الهومورك. Raise hand there.
حاضر.
عبد الرحمن الأبيض, raise hand because you already sent the homework, right? عبد الرحمن الأبيض.
مستر أنا هطلع وهرجع أدخل إني داخل باسم غلط يا مستر.
Yes, Ramos. You can rename يا ولد. Okay. عبد الرحمن عماد, the homework please, شباب. Please send all your homework. Okay, I'll try to do it. If you have any
سر انا حبعت اليوم كان عندي مشكله في النت
ما عندك
امبارح.
مشكلة, بس try to do the homework. Okay, Mr. No problem. This question, who asked me guys to repeat this question again? Cosine 4x. Okay. Yes, you would like me to re-explain it again. Cosine 4x, sine 4x all squared. Okay. I think that we have here empty slides. No. Oh, let me add one quickly. Yes, what's the question?
Cosine 4x plus sine 4x.
Yeah, the integral
squared.
of cosine 4 x minus sine 4x, this
Whole
all
square.
to the power of 2. All to the power of 2 dx. So simply we have to expand. بيكون عندي two terms a minus b all to the power of 2. We expanded based on this fact, which
A
is
square minus
a squared
2ab
minus 2ab plus b squared. That's mean that we're gonna multiply square the first term.
cosine square 4x
Here cosine squared 4x
minus 2
multiply first by second by 2.
2 cosine 4x sine 4x.
Yes, sine 4x and square the last
Plus
term.
sine squared 4x.
Right. dx.
Now we group cosine square 4x plus
Excellent.
sine square 4x.
Cosine squared 4x plus sine squared 4x by using the Pythagorean identity, it's 1. It's what, guys? هنا 1. يعني بالنسبة لدول 1. Then negative أو minus 2 sine 4x cosine 4x dx. If you remember, guys, this identity, which is sine double the angle sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x
sine x
cosine x. Okay, so in our question we have 4x, not only x. So what should it be here? It should be sine. If it's 2x, it gives 1x. If it's here 8x gives what? 2 sine 4x cosine 4x. So that's why we replaced here this part. We replaced all this part اللي هو 2 sine 4x cosine 4x. هنعمل له replacement ونحط مكانه 2 هنحط مكانه sine 8x.
sine 8x.
Yes, so it's the integral of 1 minus and replace this all to sine 4x cosine 4x became sine
8x.
8x. Okay, عبد الرحمن dx. Okay guys ماشي الحال. Then
Yes,
the
mister.
integral of 1 is what?
X
X.
minus
Integral of sine is integral of sine
cosine.
is negative cosine.
Negative
So
cosine.
negative negative becomes positive, and here cosine 8x over 8 plus c.
مستر ال 8 اوفر كل
ايوه
هذا
خلي بالك
يعني.
8 over كل هذا يعني تكون x plus 1 over 8 برا cosine 8x
cosine.
plus c. Yes, this is your final answer. What?
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome. Okay, let's move back to our question. Yes, the can homework. No, not this one. The one that I said for you to complete, right? Yes, since this question fee product cosine 3x by sine 4x, we have to convert this product as sum or difference. And yesterday we checked the rule and we said that cosine A sine B equal 1/2 into sine the sum minus
Plus,
minus huh?
I think plus.
لا ماينس
minus شفناها أمس minus sine A minus B. And then I replaced here cosine 3x times sine 4x as half. وقلنا sine is sum يعني sine 7x minus sine the difference. So the difference here is negative x. And since sine is odd function, right?
yes
Even functions هم two بس functions, which is cosine and sec. Even function يعني لو cosine negative x gives cosine x.
Yes.
But here because sine negative x, we
Negative
will write
sine.
it as negative sine x because it's odd function. So it's a half, and then here sine 7x minus
Plus.
minus. لا, I will
Plus.
replace
يعني plus
yes,
sine x.
تكون plus because sine
Sine.
negative x يا شباب is negative sine x. So negative gives what?
negative
Positive.
plus
Positive.
Positive sine x
dx
dx.
Mr. I think it's sine A plus B plus sine A minus B. Identity.
It's plus or minus.
Plus identity between the signs is plus.
It's a product to sum.
Because,
Product to sum. بس ركز هي cosine sine or sine cosine.
الساين الاول.
Cosine first غير لما تكون sine first. Okay.
cosine-
Product and
okay,
quotient
cosine.
rule. Yeah, here in Google we can write product to sum. Write only product to
مستر
sum.
البرودكت to sum cosine A sin B half sin A plus B minus sin A minus B.
Yes, as we wrote
Yes.
here. Yes. Okay, يعني correct نكمل. Yeah, then half is what? Half here is constant. The integral of the first sine 7x plus
Sin x.
x dx. The integral of leave the half outside. The integral of sine 7x is
Negative cosine 7x over 7.
negative cosine 7x all over 7. Again, the integral of sine x
Minus cosine x
negative
over
cosine x over 1 plus what? Plus c. Finally, write your answer as negative half. No, not negative half. Negative 1 over 14.
1 over 14.
Because half barra times negative 1 over 7 inside gives a negative 1 over 14. اللي هذه positive.
Cosine 7x
Okay, cosine 7x. Then
minus
negative
half cosine x.
cosine x plus c. This is our final answer. So please check your answer for your homework. Is it like this or not? And if you have any misunderstanding أو حاجة في السؤال, ask me. So here is the fact we use, the guys. Okay.
Mister, it's negative 1 over 14.
Negative 1 over 14 cosine 7x
Okay.
minus 1/2 cosine x plus c.
Okay.
Also,
okay.
this question was a homework, so let's do it. Sine. Again, it has a rule. So what's the identity we should use here?
Half cosine A
Mhm.
minus B minus cosine A plus B.
And please, the identity.
half
for sine A, sine B.
half
Equals.
cosine A minus B.
We have parentheses, right?
Yeah, half into
Oh,
parentheses
and we
cosine
have
A minus B.
brackets. When it's a sine will be cosine. Cosine.
Yeah.
When it's a sine
A
will be
minus
inside هنا cosine cosine على right hand side. Yes, A minus B
minus
minus also
cosine
cosine
A
A
plus B.
plus B, and close your bracket. Okay, so this is the fact or the identity you have to use when you have the product of sine. So our answer will be the integral of 1/2 من الأول طلعه outside and write here sine sine the sum
لا مستر
cosine sorry
Cosine.
cosine the sum here cosine
Cosine the
أيوة
difference.
cosine the difference
cosine 2 يعني cosine 2 اللي هو
cosine the
6 minus
difference
4.
here cosine the difference between 6x and 4x
2x.
which is 2x minus cosine
Cosine
again the sum
10x.
10x يعني عبارة عن identity and you apply this identity here in this question and then integrate. The answer is 1/2 integral of cosine is
Sine 2x over 2
sine 2x and this all over 2 minus
minus sine x over sine 10x over 10.
yes integral again of cosine is sine 10x in angle. Don't forget to divide by 10. We have برا so final answer is
1 over
1/4
sine 2x minus 1 over 20
1 over 20
sine 10x.
sine 10x. So this is the basic fact, guys, of this question. To convert the product to what? To sum. Sine A, sine B. لما تكون sine. Okay, it's half cosine A minus B, cosine A plus B minus cosine A. Yes.
مستر آخر إشي بلس سي صح؟
Yes. Yeah, forgot the C. Plus C. Okay. This is sine. And we talk cosine. You may have another question for cosine. Yes. Yes, for cosine.
نفس الشيء بس رول تاني.
Yes. What's the rule here? What's the identity for cosine? So
Cosine.
A cosine B equals 1/2
Cosine A plus
brackets
sine A plus B.
cosine here also, right?
B. Yeah, cosine.
When it's cosine.
Cosine
Cosine the difference. Cosine the
A
difference of
plus
two
B
angles.
plus A minus B.
A minus B first.
A plus B.
plus B بعدين plus A minus B.
أيوة plus first and then plus
minus لا ده plus
cosine A minus B. Okay. Yes. So the integral here of 1/2 as a constant, leave it outside the integral sign. Cosine 3x, cosine 7x. So becomes what?
Cosine 10x.
10x. Then plus cosine the difference. يعني 3x minus
negative 4x.
cosine negative 4x.
Cosine even نخلي الإكس جوا صح؟
Yes, because cosine is even function. فخلاص كأن الماينس راح. Okay, it's the same as cosine 4x. So it's the integral of cosine 10x plus we replace cosine negative 4x as cosine 4x dx.
وبعدين
Then integrate.
sine 10x over 10.
X and an yeah. The integral of cosine 10x is sine 10x
10x over 10
over 10 plus
sine 4x
yes
over 4.
Yes, yeah, Mr.
بعدين sine
sine
4x
over 4
هندخل الهاف تصير 1 over 20 plus 1 over 8.
Yeah, multiply this half يا شباب. Check your homework please. By 10 gives 120 sine 10x plus also this half
1 over 8.
1 over 4 gives 1 over 8 sine 4x plus c. Do you agree, guys, with my answer? Is it correct?
Yes,
Is
Master.
it the same as your answers? Yes. Paris matter. Yes. Is it correct with your answer?
Yes
Any
Mr.
question?
same answer.
يس يس
Yes.
بس
خالد.
الساين في النص حطيتها نيجاتيف مش بوزيتيف.
ده الساين. ما انت لازم تكون معاك الايدنتيز.
فهمت.
اوكي انس محمد الزيني عمر حوراني. Okay, if you did the homework, guys, and your answers are correct till now, raise hand, please.
Yes, Mr. Yes.
Yes. Where is Radwan? Yes. Okay, Tahir. Yes, Tahir. Solve the next question. Yes, yeah, Tahir. You don't have mic? طيب.
خربان مايكو مستر
مم.
من أول الدوام.
طيب. عمر حوراني. اوكي يا طيب.
يس مستر.
يلا هنا ساين كوساين.
اوكي.
When it's a sine cosine, I will help you
Yes.
and write for you the identity we should use.
We will simplify the
Sine A cosine B. لما يجيك
The
كده
equation.
sine A cosine B. أيوة. equals 1
Half.
half.
Sine A plus B
A plus B. Sine the sum. A plus B.
plus
Okay. Plus sine
the difference. Sine the difference.
A minus B.
سر بس هون مش هي نفس الانجل؟ نفس الانجل.
Same angle here. Sine cosine.
Can we use sine 2x is equal to 2 cosine x sine x?
Khalid Shah, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Khalid, right. Because we have another identity which is sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x.
Yeah.
So because it's the same angle, so we can use what? The second one is easier, which is 2, it will be sine to what?
Sine into x.
Will be sine x.
The integral of sine to the angle. The x هنا represents the angle اللي فوق اللي هي x
Is
over
x over 2. So
yes.
x.
dx. So it's x. Yeah, تطلع sine x. dx تكون أسهل وأسهل. The integral of sine is negative cosine. Yes, عمر. Plus what يا عمر? c. The integral of sine is what يا حوراني? Is negative cosine x.
Yes plus c.
Plus c. That's برضه دي أسهل. And you can use any one of them. لو استخدمت الأولى برضه gives you the same answer. Okay. Any question يا شباب? Any question? Identities only. بس بتاخد ال identity and replace and then find the integral. Yes, but here we have the integral of sine cubed x over 1 minus cosine squared. Cosine squared x. It's quotient, and we have cosine squared. I think it's easy, but you have to concentrate only of the denominator 1 minus cosine squared. Written as well. Based on this fact. Yes.
1 minus cosine squared x is sine squared x.
Yeah, this one here, 1 minus cosine squared x. We can replace it by sine squared x. We can replace it with sine squared x. ليه يا خالد؟ لأن في عندي sine squared x
plus
plus
cosine squared x equal 1.
cosine squared x is 1. So we can simply take the cosine squared to the other side. So sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x,
Yes.
which is the same as our denominator. So it's the integral of sine cubed x, leave it the same, and replace 1 minus cosine squared x as sine squared x dx, and replace here by sine squared x from this
So
identity.
sine x.
Sine cubed over sine squared is only
Sine x.
sine x. You can subtract the exponents. You can simplify them out. And the answer also, the integral of sine is negative cosine x over 1 خلاص plus c. Any question? Is it clear? Easy here. So think guys first before you start to answer. Okay, you have to print out the identities, the whole identities. Okay, we use it. Not تحفظهم, use only the identities.
Mister, did
Sometimes
you upload them somewhere?
I
The
will say,
identities, or
yeah,
should we just search for them on Google?
no problem. You can search and I also will upload them. I'll still gonna upload
Okay,
them. But
thank
I
you.
will upload or send the WhatsApp group.
Okay, thank you.
بس شباب خلي بالكم يعني sometimes زي السؤال هذا you will not use the identity directly. You have to work on the identity. Okay? يعني this identity sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1 بتلاقيها في الورق بس you have to work on this identity to conclude that 1 minus cosine squared x can be replaced by sine squared, and then we cross out cubed with squared gives sine x only, and now it's easy to integrate. So put in your mind, guys, that there is no any integral for the quotient directly, okay? No rule for the quotient. مفيش rule directly كده هتجيب لك الانتجرال of the quotient or the product of two functions. Okay, you should work first on the fraction as this question to convert the fraction into what's
لا
given
تان
expression.
ايوه
لا أي expression with a denominator of 1. Okay? Like this question also, we have a problem first that we have a quotient. We have يعني fraction, numerator and denominator. So what?
مش 1 plus tan square x هي 6 square.
Yes, sure.
So
If we said
خلص
tan squared x plus
1
this is a Pythagorean identity, equals 6 squared
square
x. So we can replace the numerator by 6 squared x. And then becomes like this, Mr. Yaman. Becomes here like this. The integral, replace the numerator by 6 squared x over tan squared x. Then
فينا نحول tan square x كمان ل 6 square x minus 1.
Yes, tan squared x becomes 6 squared x minus 1. أي the denominator will be 2 parts أو 2 يعني 2 terms.
نحول ال secant squared x ل 1 over sine squared x وال tan sine over cos.
You know, Iman, if you use this one, still same problem. بس حول ال 6 squared as what?
ل 1 over cosine squared x.
1 over cosine squared x. And this all over.
ترى أنا شوي وبجي يعني بعد إذنك عاوز أروح الحمام.
x over cosine squared x.
And tan squared is what? 1 is what? Sine over cosine, صح? Sine squared x over cosine squared x dx. So that's it. I can write it as 1 over cosine squared x. It's divided by sine squared over cosine squared, or multiplied by cosine squared. Keep it change, flip. Flip the second fraction of the denominator all, flip it as cosine squared over sine squared x, this dx. We have now to cross out the like terms. So we can cross out cosine squared with sine squared. and we still have بس 1 over sine squared x dx. Again 1 over sine squared نقدر نعملها replacement by cosecant squared x based on the identities also. That's why you studied the identities last year.
Final answer negative cotan
The
squared
final
x
answer is negative cotangent x plus c.
squared x. Yeah.
No, negative cotangent x only plus c, because the derivative of
Yes.
cosecant squared is the
Cotan.
derivative of cotan is negative cosecant squared. So the integral of cosecant squared is negative cotangent x. Okay, 1 over sine is cosecant. 1
Yes.
over cosine is
C.
secant. Here is co and here is no co. Here is co and here is the no co, like this. Okay, it's called reciprocal identities. Again, yes, Yaman said for us guys, وافتكر ان 1 plus tan squared x gives 6 squared x. So the numerator 6 squared x. The denominator is still the same, but we cannot use here this idea to replace tan squared again by 6 squared x minus 1. In this case, I will not be able to get rid of the fraction. But we have to change the 6 squared, the 1 over cosec. And tan is sine over cosine. Also add this to your information, that tan x equals sine over cosine. And then do this operation by cross out cosine squared. يطلع لي 1 over sine squared x, which is cosecant squared x. والintegral تبعها negative cotan x plus c. Okay. Yes. Muhammad Zubaydi, do you have any question? Is it clear for you? Yes. محمد عماد, عبد الرحمن عماد, عبد الرحمن كنتاب. Yeah. Everything is okay? Is it clear for you guys? في حد عنده أي question? No. Ask me guys if it's not clear. Yeah, we can repeat it for you if it's not understandable. يلا شباب لو في أي سؤال ask me. I'm waiting. Is it clear till now? هذا السؤال and the previous one.
Yes, Mr. It's clear.
Again. Yes.
بس ممكن ترجع السؤال اللي فات، عايز اخد
Okay.
سكرين شوت. تمام خلاص يا مستر، خدت السكرين شوت.
Okay, عبد الرحمن. Yeah, this question here, we have the integral of 1 minus sine squared over sine squared x over 2 cosine squared x over 2. Yes, I'll let you guys for 1 minute to think what is the best way to do this question. Make it easy. Yes, شكله كده ايه؟
مش في ايدنتي فوق وايدنتي تحت.
Yes, no problem.
تبقى كوزاين سكويرد اكس.
برافو عليك. 1 minus sine
وتحت
squared
هتبقى 1.
x is cosine squared x. This is for the numerator.
وفي
Okay.
الدينومينيتور هتبقى 1 متهيألي، لأن
1.
ساين سكويرد لا ده تايمز، سوري تايمز.
لو هي plus, yes, it's 1. But here it's times. So, yes, also we still use identities in the denominator. That
اللي
works.
هي
2 sin x.
Yes, Faris? Yes, correct. 2 sine 2 sine x cosine x. Do you remember this identity? كانت لمين؟ كانت للساين 2x. Sine double the angle. انتهز الفرصة واكتب لكم الايدنتي for double angle identity. Sine 2x equal 2 sine cosine 2 sine x cosine x. And the cosine 2x, it has 3 rules.
Sine squared minus sine squared.
Yes, cosine squared x minus sine squared x.
2 cosine squared minus 1.
Excellent. 2 cosine squared x minus 1 and
1 minus 2 sine squared x.
Yeah, correct. 2 minus 1 minus 2 sine squared x. خلي بالك. ف sin 2x اللي يخص السؤال تبعنا الآن اللي هو sin 2x equal 2 sine cosine. So the angle is the same? Yes. X over 2, x over 2. But here we have sine squared and cosine squared.
مستر نقدر نحطها sin x over 2.
Sine
يعني
x over 2.
تطلع مستر sine squared x.
Sine squared x. ليه sine squared x? Because it's half angle, so it's gonna be x only, right?
Yes, and sine squared, cosine squared, and cosine squared.
Yes, يعني قصدك نحطها sine all squared. Yes,
Yes.
you can. بس أنا بس عايز الناس تاخد بالها إن هنا half x and here half x. So when it's half x يعني like sine x
Sine.
only equal what?
Equal.
Equal
sine
to
x
equal to sine
equal
half
sine
x cosine half x.
yes.
If we have here only x, so my angle will be 2 sine half x cosine half x. Yeah, that's why. So the numerator, as we agreed, we will replace it with cosine x squared x, and the denominator, the denominator. But where's the 2? There is no 2 here.
خليها sin x over 2 صح؟
Yes,
لا
sine x
ممكن من البداية تخلي هنا 2 and يعني here 2
multiply by
down
2.
and multiply up by 2. So we have here outside 2, you know, multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2 gives 1. So this 2 أنا أخليها تحت to use it. To use it. So
فهمني في الايدنتي.
ايوه عشان نستخدمها في الايدنتي. So 2 sine squared x over 2 cosine squared x over 2 can be replaced by sine what?
sine squared x.
sin squared x.
Sine squared x.
Yes.
So it is cosine squared x. Cosine
Here is
squared
the
and squared is cosine squared.
ده 2 عادي. Cosine over cosine squared over sine squared is cotan squared x dx. But للأسف we don't have a direct rule for the integral of cotan squared x dx. So we have to use again the identity that states in cotan squared x cotan squared x plus 1 equals cosecant squared x.
Yes.
So to replace cotan only squared x, it's gonna be cosecant squared x minus 1.
minus 1.
So we will replace cotan squared x here by cosec squared x minus 1, and this all for dx, for x. Yeah. Now the integral of cosecant squared is negative
Negative tan.
cotan x. The integral of 1 is
Negative x.
بعدين plus
Plus
c.
c.
And last step is to write negative
Multiply
2
by 2.
cotan x.
Tan x minus 2x plus c.
Yes. Minus 2x. Yes.
The 2 in the denominator, from where did you bring it?
Multiplied the numerator and denominator by
Think
2.
first with us here at the right, we wrote 2 sine x cosine x is sine 2x.
Yes, I understood this.
نايم. طب ال 2 اللي بره دي مش موجودة أصلا في الكويستشن نفسه. هي موجودة في الرول بس مش موجودة في الكويستشن. فأنا اللي عملت multiplying by 2 and divide by 2. The outside one, the outer one, leave it.
Yes.
And the inside one, use it in the identity. 2 sine squared. 2 sine squared x over 2. We used it. حولناها كلها 2 sine squared x over 2 cosine squared x over 2 as sine squared x. The important issue, guys, here that this one is x. Why x, not 2x like this one? Because the angle is
half.
It's multiplied by 2.
It's half. هنا تكون x. لما كانت 2x كان الانجل 1x. When the angle is 1x only, sine x is 2 sine half x cosine x. Yes, any question?
No.
So let's complete here the answer. We said it's a negative 2 cos 10x minus 2x by multiplying by 2 plus the c. And this is the final answer. Any question? خلاص. رحنا الايدنتي sorry, the important rule in calculus here, that when we have the derivative, the integral of the two functions and the numerator is the derivative of the denominator, directly let len absolute value of f of x plus c. It's important what? Important rule. لازم يكون اللي فوق في النوميريتور is the derivative of the denominator. And I give you one example, like 2x over x squared dx. This is another way to get rid of the fraction of the quotient. Since 2x is the derivative of x squared, كلنا عارفين كده, so my answer will be len absolute value of x squared plus c. Directly على طول, ده من اللي فوق 2x هنا is the derivative of x squared. صحيح. So my answer len absolute value of x squared plus c. One more example, the integral of sine x, the integral of sine x over cosine x equal, here the same question, number one, because tan we can write it as what, guys? Sine x على cosine x. With me, guys? Yes, we can replace the tan by sine over cosine. ليه؟ ما في direct rule for tan. The integral of tan مش موجود. So we replace tan by sine over cosine. What's the derivative of cosine?
negative sign.
Negative sign. مفيش negative. فعادي.
بس derivative ولا integration.
It should be negative here. So to write here this negative من عندك, multiply outside by negative. And the inner أو the inside negative ده, use it and leave the negative outside. Len absolute value of cosine x plus c using this fact.
Okay.
Again, أنا اللي حطيت أنا negative من عندي. Okay? Negative. This negative we use the مع sin x. Negative sin x is the derivative of cosine x على فكرة. If the numerator
لما نحط النيجاتيف برا، ما المفروض النيجاتيف اللي جوا تكون على الكوساين؟
لا، مع الساين.
بتكون مع لأن حطينا نيجاتيف.
ايوه، عشان
same.
الكوساين هي الفانكشن.
انه بصير بعدين جوا الفاينل انسر نيجاتيف لن اوف نيجاتيف كوساين اكس بلس سي.
f of x is cosine x. So
Absolutely.
what's the derivative of cosine? Negative sign. The derivative of cosine is negative sign. فلازم يكون negative فوق مع الساين. أما position of negative مش هيفرق، لأن negative by negative is positive and negative divided negative is what? Is positive also. فتخلي النيجاتيف مع الساين فوق عشان يكون النوميريتور negative sin x which is the derivative of cosine x. أقدر أستخدم الرول دي. Then the absolute value of the denominator plus c. Then the absolute value of the denominator plus c. Okay, the period is finished, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, guys. I hope you understood everything and study daily and keep safe. And goodbye, guys. Salam alaikum.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome.
Thank you.